Demonstration on how to use the Webcam software that comes with the Logitech cameras, and a lot of people use the Logitech equipment, so you'll be using the Webcam. And first of all, just open up your Webcam software by clicking down on your menu bar or clicking on your software menu or whatever you need to do to open up the Webcam. Now the main setting are from the little gears. So if you press on the little gear icons, it'll open up your webcam settings. Now I'm not going to be showing you where to click because I'm assuming you know how to click on the various parts of the Webcam software, namely in this case on the little gear settings. Alright, so you click on that, it opens up the little window that says webcam settings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit various buttons here and just so you can see what it does to the actual video. Right, first one I'm going to hit is the up at the top. It has the pan and tilt, and it has a little round thing with a little button in the middle. When you click on that middle button, that centers your camera. Well, first of all, I should say you have to zoom a little bit to get this to work. So zoom in just a hair, and now you can click on the top button and you'll notice the little lens will actually move slightly, and then click on the bottom button and it moves down slightly, and the same thing for left and right. Now it's not moving a whole lot because you're in the wide angle setting, but if you were zooming in a lot farther, like say here, the effect is exaggerated because you're now at a telephoto setting. So now you can see that it's zooming what seems like quite a bit when it's actually it's moving the same amount for that lens, but it's just magnified because you've got a higher magnification. So that's when you zoom in. Okay, now zoom, and notice also when you zoom in, it gets pretty bad. The focus, it gets pixelated and pretty bad. So generally you're not going to be zooming in very much, if at all, quite frankly. All right, now the next one down here is the autofocus and the manual focus. I keep mine set on manual focus all the time because you can basically get very, very close to that lens. I'm about 3 inches away, and now 2 inches, and now about 1 inch away. And it still gives you a fairly decent focus picture. There's about 2 inches away. But if you get like an inch away, it starts getting a little fuzzy. So if by chance you're doing something that's very, very close, you can do the autofocus, and then it'll focus very, very close. That's like a half an inch away. But the thing is, unless you got good lighting, it'll start searching, and moving the focus in and out under low light levels. So that's one reason you have to be careful when you're using the autofocus. So I just click it, and I just click the manual focus. Now if I had it in manual focus, I can also just manually click on the bar, and now it's got my finger in focus, and then I'm out of focus. And then I'll just manually go back all the way out, so I'm in focus. And basically everything's in focus. It's with up to about half an inch or an inch. All right, now it's got a face tracking feature. I leave that off all the time, but theoretically, if you click follow me, the lens will kind of follow you. It's not really perfect. It gets kind of a goofy effect because it's seeking for your face, and it'll sometimes we'll catch it and sometimes it won't. If you move in and out, it's an interesting effect, but you'll probably make people seasick if you do that. And then there's a setting, if you got 2 or more people in the frame, you can click that one and it'll supposedly follow 2 or more. But I just keep that thing off all the time. Alright, now there's some brightness controls. Now all these things are pretty much automatic, but if you want to fool with them, you can fool with them. So if I click the brightness, it brightens everything up, which of course isn't too great, or darkens everything up. And then the contrast, you can get more contrast, which would look pretty bad, or less contrast, which is equally bad. Alright, and then you got color intensity, so you can do weird effects. I can give myself a sunburn. I can give myself an orange burn, or I can do black and white. And then you've got a white balance, which basically the software detects whether you're using fluorescent lights or incandescent lights, because they all have a different color to them. So it will adjust for what it thinks is the correct balance for making whites. So you can just leave that on all the time. It only is really adjusting when you're under artificial light. So if you're in the daylight, it's not really going to make much difference, but I keep that on all the time. And then there's a return to default settings, so if you get real messed up, you can just click that, and then it just returns to default settings, including it's returning to the automatic focus. So just remember, if you click the default settings and you don't want automatic focus, then make sure you click it back to manual. So I've just clicked it back to manual. Alright, so that's on the main camera settings. Next setting is your microphone, your volume setting, and there's a little slider there. You can adjust it. I keep it about halfway up. If you get it way too far up, I'll click it all the way up. It'll start distorting, especially if you got something loud in the background or you're shouting. You'll pick up a little bit of distortion. But actually, on the other end, you can get it fairly low. This is all the way down to the very bottom, actually, and you probably are still picking me up quite well, because the microphone on this Logitech camera is pretty sensitive. So you can pick up pretty well. So I'll just click it back up to about the middle setting there. There's about the middle. And it has a setting called Cancel Echo. I have not noticed that it does anything, quite frankly. And then there's another one that says Suppress Background Noise, and I haven't noticed that that one does anything either. So I just leave those off. The next button down is called Right Light Settings. And what it is a proprietary thing that allows the software to detect low lights and adjust your camera. What it's basically doing is it's slowing down the frame rate. So if you're in low light, like at nighttime with just the candle light or one light bulb, or even the screen lighting your face, this will slow down the frame rate and allow it to pick up enough light. The disadvantage is that it will start blurring everything. So if you move, it's going to blur pretty badly. So I leave that off all the time, quite frankly, and it only works in low light situations. So if you got normal light at daytime, it's not even going to do anything anyway. Alright, the next setting down is the advanced settings, and you have automatic settings clicked all the time, but you can adjust your exposure up or down. You can do the gain up or down, but I just use automatic settings and let the camera software take care of that. There's an anti-flicker setting, which is kind of a technical issue depending on if you're using European electric system, which is 50 Hertz, or the 60 Hertz in North America. So we're in North America, so we're on 60. And there's an image orientation. You can, if you want, for some reason, wanted to switch things backwards like that. Now it's like, Justin TV's backwards. It's, so if you got dyslexia, you could do this. Or if you got dyslexic people watching you could turn it backwards. Alright, if you want to do upside down for people standing on their head and watching you, you can do that. So if you got some monkeys watching you, like the Justin TV monkey, you could do that upside down. And then there's an LED control. That's the control that's on your camera. I keep it off. When you have it on, the camera has a little LED around the lens that turns on so that people can tell that your camera is now on, but I just leave it off all the time. And the next button down is basically application preferences. You can set up Skype to work with your camera. You can select your email client. You can select what kind of photo storage, websites you're using, video storage folder, and just various things. I basically don't have anything in there except that I use Skype occasionally. So that's basically the controls on QuickCam. It's pretty much automatic, so you don't really have to fool with anything at all. But if you want to play around with them, you can use those settings. And that's the QuickCam basic camera settings using the Logitech camera. Okay,